Welcome to the show, Eddie.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am very good.
You're looking good.
Well, I do this running thing, which I've said this through. I tell people that I run because I've run these marathons before, but now I keep it going. I keep it topped up with HIIT, high intensity interval training.
Right.
So you sprint, recover, just like tigers do. Sprint, recover, or lions in Africa. Sprint, recover. And that's what we used to do as human beings when we were wild. Now we're more domesticated, cake and television, and so. We don't do so much of that. But, you know, all the good sports people, you know, in the big sports like your football, our football, everyone's football, sprint, recover. Right. And that is the healthy stuff for you. So, kids, do that.
Be like a tiger. Yeah, be like a tiger. Let's talk about the marathons for a bit. A lot of people may not know this about you, but you genuinely have run more marathons than most human beings will ever in their lifetimes. In fact, I remember when you came to South Africa to run 27 marathons in 27 days in honor of Nelson Mandela's 27 years in prison. And I remember like seeing that as a South African, and I was like, wow, this is a little excessive. I was like, just remember him. Just hashtag we remember you.
I didn't do enough at the time. I didn't, you know, I was a student at the time. Well, apartheid obviously went on for a long time. I didn't eat the fruit, and that was it. And I just thought that's not enough. So I thought maybe I can make it up.
Yes.
And in Invictus poem, which I knew meant a lot to him, there was the film.
Yes.
And when I heard about the film, and my dad said, you know, that was a Nelson Mandela poem. That's where it came from. And I thought, okay, I know where I'm next going to run.
But you almost died doing this.
Technically. Well, you see, my willpower, I got rhabdomyolysis. I tried in 2012 and got rhabdomyolysis, which is not fun. I went back in 2016, and they couldn't work out my bloods and my hydration, right? So day 4 was in hospital, day 5 was in hospital.
Yes.
In East London, in Eastern Cape. And a very cool nephrologist, which is a kidney expert, there's this very cool black guy, and he's just saying, well, who are you? What are you doing? I'm doing this for Madiba. Why? You know, the sort of things
South Africans are like, why?
Yeah, this guy was really cool. And he said, no, it's your kidneys are fine. It's your hydration. That's the problem. We're going to put 3 liters into you, and you'll be peeing like a horse. I didn't pee once that night, so
because of how dehydrated you were.
I was really dehydrated.
Yeah, but this is what I love. It's like you have this personality where when you set your sights on something, it's almost like militaristic. You go, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to run 27 marathons. When you missed a marathon, you then ran 2 marathons the next day.
On the last day, the very final day.
Right. Again, excessive. But this is who Eddie Izzard is. I mean, like, for people who know and love your story, they love you because of that. You are somebody who's known for not just doing comedy, but for touring the world, doing comedy in, how many languages is it now? I remember when it was 3. And now?
It's now 4. I've added Spanish to it, but I'm learning it in Spanish. I do it in German.
So wait, so it's English, it was French?
And German.
German. I remember when, in German, we were there together, and then we met, we were both at the same comedy club. Eddie was testing his material downstairs, and then I was doing my show. And then Eddie came, and then you were like, oh, we're both here, this is so much fun. You're like, are you doing it in German? Then I was like, no, why would I do it in German?
This was in Berlin, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was in Berlin.
In Berlin.
I was like, no. I was like, why? Why would I do that?
And his dad spoke, your dad speaks German.
Yeah, but why is that so important to you? Because you don't do it as a gimmick, it's who you are.
It's political. I mean, I want to stand as a member of parliament in my country from next year. I've said this for 9 years now that I was going to stand in 2020, and this is an underlying political thing. It's hands across borders. The astronauts said this from either the Russians or the Americans. When they went up there, they looked back, there are no frontiers. We've made these frontiers.
Right.
And I'm going out and saying this is a very key century, the 21st century. I'm doing my shows in French, German, Spanish, maybe Spanish, German, French kids, Russian kids, whatever they can think. Well, I'll try it in a different language. And that just makes the melting pot melt, because we are all human. We have spent so many wars about killing each other. We're all human beings.
When you do your comedy in another language, I mean, I don't do it as extensively as you do. I'll write a joke in another language. You do the whole show in another language, and then you like immerse yourself in that language. Do you think there's something in learning other languages that changes how you perceive people who speak another language?
Not how you perceive, you just realize, hey, they're the same people as us, because some of them laugh, some of them don't laugh, some of them go, this is rubbish. Some of them go, they just have the same quirks and things as us. We do tend to say the Germans are this, the French are that, the Chinese are this. They're not. They're all essentially human beings,
yes.
family, kids, a better life, working hard. We need to make it a fair world for 7.5 billion people this century. And the melting pot, America was a great melting pot. It's made this great country, and we need to make the world a melting pot. And I feel that we've either got to be brave and curious or fearful and suspicious. And I'm trying to be brave and curious.
You are doing that. Like, you're doing it on another level, because I remember years ago when we met, and this is one of the people who genuinely is one of the reasons that I'm sitting here today, because Eddie was kind enough to present my show and my comedy in Edinburgh, which, I mean, blew me up, because people were like, well, if Eddie vouches for you, then, I mean, we'll let you in. Actually, one of the funniest moments was we were taking a photo together. I don't know if you remember this. This was in Edinburgh. And we knew each other, but we weren't like close friends. And Eddie's standing next to me in the picture, and we're standing there and everyone's taking pictures of us together. And then Eddie says out of the corner of his mouth, he says, "You better not kill someone or do some crazy shit, because now I'm tied to you forever."
I don't actually remember saying that. But what I do remember thinking is, I want to encourage young people to go on and young people younger than myself to go on and be successful, not too successful. And you're on the borderline of being too successful. This is rather annoying.
No, but let's talk a little bit more about the Eddie Izzard going into politics, because you have spoken about it for a long time. You're not one of those people who just like saw Trump and was like, oh, that looks easy. No, you've said for like, as you said, almost a decade, I want to get into politics. Why politics? Why would you go into that world that seems so messy, especially in the UK with Brexit and what's going on?
Well, anywhere in the world. I'm a radical moderate. I do radical things with a moderate message. I came out as transgender 34 years ago. I'm performing in 4 languages. I've run over 80 marathons for charity now. So that's what I bring to the table. I think most moderates don't go into politics because it seems too evil, too brutal is probably a better word than evil. It's just brutal in there. And if you think about what people have said to me negatively for being transgender, I don't think they can say anything in politics that's going to top that.
Right.
So I'm already battle-hardened for that. I've campaigned in numerous different campaigns back in Britain. And I think you need to have 3 things to do politics. You need to have a vision for the future. My vision is a fair world for 7.5 billion people. I think you need to be able to communicate. Hopefully my comedy gives me the ability to do that.
Right.
Analyze and communicate. And you need to be able to look at systems and work out what systems that you should keep, what you should change, and which ones you should completely throw away. Comedy isn't actually much good for politics, except for the light relief saying, I think this. The other people, they think that, and they're all silly buggers.
Yes.
And that's where you use your comedy for light relief, because it can get very dry in the world of politics.
Oh, I've noticed. Trust me, I've noticed.
And
one thing I do enjoy about your story as well is and this is something that I really appreciated is your story was really tough for many years, because here you were as a trans man who was living in this world where 30 years ago it was dangerous. You got beaten up, you were ridiculed everywhere you went, and I will never forget noticing how powerful your story and your impact were until one day I was walking in London. It was in Piccadilly Circus. And there was a transgender man who was walking and dressed up, and and a group of guys saw him, and then they were like, oh man, look over there, look at that asshole. And I turned and I saw, and then I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be like a thing. And the guy was like, oi, oi, oi. He's like, are you like Eddie Izzard? It's like, yeah, pretty cool, man. It's like Eddie Izzard. You do comedy? And the guy's like, no, I don't. He's like, oh.
Is that real?
No, for real. And then like I've noticed this like in London it just became you had an impact on people that went beyond it. I know it sounds strange, but it just became, because people are familiar with it. I find a lot of the time in society we are afraid of a thing that we do not know. And then when you become familiar with it, you start to see it as being more normal. Mo Salah is a good example in the UK, right? You have Mohamed Salah, this Muslim soccer player at Liverpool. becomes huge, and then all of a sudden they said in Liverpool Islamophobia was dropping, and little kids were like, oh, I want to be Muslim also, and it's just like that's what it became. So like, do you see that when you speak to people?
Well, when I came back from South Africa, I've got a film coming out at the end of the year, and my co-writer Kellen Jones, he said, could you go to my daughter's school, because they've been tracking the running in South Africa. And we went there, and they could talk about two things. I thought this was wonderful for me, just sitting at the back there, because the teacher could talk about racism, talk about Nelson Mandela's struggle against apartheid in South Africa. They could also talk about, because I was running with my nails painted and holding the South African flag, they could talk about being transgender, and I'd done some videos that had gone viral on that, and they talk about self-identifying in the classroom. Younger kids were just saying, one of them was identifying girl instead of boy, and I thought that was beautiful. They could talk about sexuality and they could talk about racism in the same thing. And I do think marathons and wearing high heels for me has been a kind of interesting breakthrough, because
also very difficult on your feet, both of them.
I know. I mean, I tend to take the heels off when I run the marathon, but people tend to give me a bit of a more, well, all right, fair play, all right, if you're going to do that, because, you know, and it's the two things added together. I did want to be in Special Forces when I was a kid. This can sound kind of crazy, but I was planning this, Marines or paratroops, and then go SAS. I didn't know which war they'd send me to, so I was kind of slowed down on that one. I wanted to do this creative stuff, so I've tried to do this sort of civilian Special Forces. That's that's why I'm so military in the way I approach it.
In the way that you look at it. The tour is rolling out to a large number of cities around the world. You're going to be doing it in multiple languages. One thing that I do find interesting is that as political as you are, your show is never political. Your show is timeless. It's about history, and it's about the future. It's about space, and it's like one of the most complicated shows. Like the topics that your thing is not like elevators. Your thing is like the space-time continuum.
But also very silly as well.
But why do you do that? Why not have the politics?
Okay,
and why?
Politics dates it. If you're doing politics, get it out of your show, because when you do your videos, this is. I gave you good advice before. You take the politics and make it go macro on the politics. So if it's something about Trump now, then go macro on people who have been like him throughout history. Go that way, because then it'll be timeless. When they look at it in 10 years, they go, oh, this is still all relevant, as opposed to, oh yeah, that guy did that.
Oh, Trump's still going to be around in 10 years. That's,
no, you've got a rule in America.
Oh, no, not as president, but he's still going to be around.
Well, that was my thing. I thought there's one practicality, which is just if you keep it fluid, keep it out there like Monty Python, it can be timeless.
Yes.
And also, I'm too lazy to do politics. I want to do comedy about politics when I'm in politics. That's essentially what I'm going to be doing. When I'm going to say, I believe this. The other team, they're all idiots. Thank
you so much for being on the show, man. I love you so much, and I appreciate you. The Wunderbar tour starts May 8th in Nashville. For tickets to the shows, go to eddieizard.com. Eddie Izzard, everybody.